Al-Rawi, they don't know. Big up the whole of Sanford and the West. And it's that. Boom! PNM, touchdown. No other party no better than we. We is the champions from a long time. Eat up the other party. Yeah, PNM, touchdown. No other party no better than we. We is the champions from a long time. Eat up the other party like ping pong. Yeah, PNM will check we party.
San Fernando! Let me hear you welcome my Prime Minister, Stuart Richard Young. Let me hear how you're feeling, people. How you feeling? Right, the vibes climbing. We in a place of history. I grew up right here, listening to political speeches from my grandfather's days come right down. You have people like Mrs. Hazel Manning right here. You have our leaders, elders, youth, vibe all at once, and the Lord gave us some little showers of blessing, and we're feeling good. So let us get down to business. Tonight I am going to put a tempo which is asking you to pay attention. We have a choice to make as a people on the 28th of April 2025. We have a choice which resides in one finger, one X, one mind, one family. The question is, what is the choice that we're asking the nation to make? We have thousands here tonight, but we're speaking to 1.3 million people here tonight in Trinidad, and we're speaking through the World Wide Web and everywhere all at once. So let's broaden the conversation. We are in this blessed country. We earn our money by oil and gas revenue. On average, we earn $45 billion a year. We spend $53 billion a year. So we're earning less than we're spending. Of the $21 billion we earn in oil and gas, that sum is what keeps us afloat. Our Minister of Energy, now our Prime Minister, along with Dr. Rowley, went to secure our future, saying, bring gas to Trinidad and Tobago, keep our plants alive, because if you stop producing gas, the plants will just pack up and leave Trinidad and Tobago. When we are considering that, we know that we have our biggest ally to the north, the United States. We have the CARICOM as our community, and we have our neighbors. And we have delicately respected the sovereignty of everyone, and we have formed negotiations and deals that tell us where our future is. Our future is essential in keeping money afloat. But while we are keeping money by selling gas and hoping that our Loran Manatee side comes to us because it's ours, and praying that dragon gas comes to us as well so that we keep our plants alive, what about saving money? Because all of us know every dollar you save is a dollar earned. In the 9 years that we account for ourselves, we cannot forget 3 years of COVID, shutdown of money, and in San Fernando, I will come to tell you specifically what we did with that. But tonight, in saving money, I want to put on table the choice. You have heard of a lady called Kamla Persad-Bissessar. I want to remind you who the leader of the opposition was and is. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar served in several governments. And one of the posts that she held, November 1995 to February 1996, she was the Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Many of you may not remember that. She also served as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago for 5 years and 3 months, from the 24th of May 2010 to September 2015. And in that time, I have come to tell you about money saved is money earned. I want to remind you of something called the Piarco Airport. In 1990 to 1995, there was a vision by the government to produce a first-class airport. It was called Project Pride. From 1995 to the year 2000, we had a UNC government, Kamla Prasad Bisesa as Attorney General for the period I've mentioned, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj as Attorney General for the vast amount of time, but in that time, the Piarco Airport was built. And in that time, a massive corruption was perpetrated on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And that corruption found itself into the courts of Trinidad and Tobago and the courts of Miami and the state of Florida. Now, many of our young people might be asking, what is this about? You're talking about 1999 and 1998. How does that affect me? How does that affect me when I open my fridge and what I look inside of my fridge is not 1999? Many people may ask that, but it is relevant to our conversation tonight. And in those courtrooms in the United States of America and in Trinidad and Tobago, in 2004, after we had laid charges for corruption against a number of people serving in the UNC government, including its Minister of Finance and other people, we saw the filing of a lawsuit in Miami, started in 2004. That lawsuit in Miami involved one bunch of defendants. These defendants were massive number. There were 21 defendants. There were much more because we had to sue properties and bank accounts to get them back. But we had 21 defendants. And the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, under a PNM Attorney General, John Jeremy, followed by Bridget Anisette George, followed by Glenda Moraine, and then John Jeremy came back just before Anand Ram Logan came. That PNM government commenced litigation. At the same time, the United States government said, by way of criminal charges against Americans, against a man from Peru, against a man from Colombia, against a number of entities, the United States federal government in the federal court in Miami listened to the Attorney General of the United States in Florida bring criminal proceedings against Trinidadian people and Trinidadian companies and Americans and other foreigners. And what did the United States government do? Because Kamla Prasad Bisesa tells you this is not real, this is PNM persecuting UNC, and I'll tell you why I'm raising this topic in a little while. The United States government took these people to court. I will tell you who they are and what happened to them, because tonight I will reveal to you what you have not heard. And while the United States government was in criminal prosecutions, we took civil prosecutions. And those civil prosecutions were very important because we wanted to get back with money. A billion in money. You all know what $1 billion is back in 1999? $1 billion in 1999 is more like $12 billion today. And the United States government and in the United States Federal Court Criminal Division, United States Civil Division, all of those cases were going on. But in Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM called an election. We lost the election in 1995. We saw the UNC go to 2000. But in the year coming up to 2000, something very important happened. The UNC government, knowing that there was criminal conduct and knowing what I'm going to reveal to you tonight by actual words, saw Kamla Persad-Bissessar, leader of the UNC today, Attorney General there, Kamla Persad-Bissessar found herself in a very interesting situation. And I want you to hear about Kamla Persad's situation, not from my words, because I wear in a PNM shirt. I want you to hear it from Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, member then of the United National Congress. I read from a Guardian article. It is entitled, Ramesh Hits Kamla on Using His Corruption Bill. It's written by Gail Alexander back then, and Miss Alexander was writing, UNC MP Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj says he's happy new leader UNC Kamla Persad-Bissessar has had a change of heart in fighting corruption at all levels and intends resurrecting an anti-corruption bill he drafted in 2001. But hear what Mr. Maharaj says. When Mrs. Persad-Bissessar came in as Attorney General, she reintroduced the bill. But as AG, she also fired Carl Hudson Phillips, who was special counsel to the Bob Lindquist corruption probe at the time, and she also fired Lindquist in total. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar also asked the police to do a criminal probe on me, that is him, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj speaking, for hiring Lindquist, and Senior Superintendent Wellington Virgil came to me and said he was mandated to see if I had misconducted myself in public office by hiring Lindquist, because he felt that my hiring of Lindquist to probe corruption amounted to a criminal offense. That is Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj telling about Kamla Persad-Bissessar as Attorney General when she was in the United National Congress. But it goes further. On the website of Bob Lindquist, in full living color for you to see, he has a tale on Piarco International Airport, Trinidad construction, bid rigging, money laundering. And listen to Mr. Lindquist's words, not mine. A flight into the procurement process. He says, in September 2000, the Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago retained Lindquist to conduct investigations into allegations of corruption and procurement, fraud regarding construction of the country's Piarco International Airport at a cost of some $110 million. Lindquist called Marshdorf and Stamler to assist with the mandate. Our interim report was issued within 2 months prior to the country's general election held in December 2000. The AG's political party won the election, but the investigation did not continue. Thereafter, in 2001, the AG, he's referring to Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, and 2 other ministers resigned from cabinet over the inability to obtain funds for the anti-corruption unit to consider its investigation. I'm reminding you of Kamla Persad-Bissessar from the words of Bob Lindquist, the words of Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, in saying, as they have said, not me, that there was no money to stop the probe by starving the funds. Now let's get to the back of your fridge today. Let's get to why this is relevant to all the young people today. What happened in 2010 to 2015 was that Mrs. Prasad Bisesa appointed an attorney general named who? Anand Ramlogan, a man on criminal charges in Trinidad and Tobago today for witness tampering. A man who have yet to answer criminal charges, still going to come on the Vincent Nelson matter for legal fees kickback. And that attorney general had, by the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the job of pursuing the Miami litigation and of dealing with the extradition of Steve Ferguson, Ishwal Galbaran Singh, and Northern Construction. What happened? The records of the Attorney General's office, where I served for 7 years, demonstrate that they gave no instructions to the Miami lawyers, waiting for the case to fall apart. Worse yet, when time came for the extradition matter to proceed, after arrest warrant happened, authorization to proceed happened, you go through habeas corpus, judicial review, High Court, Court of Appeal, Privy Council, come again, High Court, Court of Appeal, Privy Council. We get to a judgment of Mr. Justice Ronnie Budu Singh, and that judge in 2011, November 7, 2011, said, because of how the case was presented, Ramlogan, having fired Douglas Mendez and his team who were doing the case, bringing new lawyers, in that case, the judge said at High Court, I will quash the warrant, bring them to trial in Trinidad and Tobago. I want to read for you a letter from Anand Ramlogan to the Miami lawyers. And the Miami lawyers received a letter January 3rd, 2011 from Anand Ramlogan. He writes to the lawyer for Trinidad and Tobago in Miami, and he says, I advise that I have taken the decision not to appeal the decision of the Honorable Mr. Justice Budu Singh, delivered on the 7th November in the Steve Ferguson case, and he called the whole name. The result of this is that the defendants will not be extradited to the United States of America to face trial there. Coming back to your fridge. Remember your fridge in your head tonight, San Fernando. Remember when you open the fridge and you're asking, what the government do for me? We want to put food in your fridge. We're talking about saving money. We're talking about who you are going to think about on April 28th to put in office or not put in office, to vote, to stay home, or to not vote. And coming to that, you have Ramlogan's letter. Well, let me tell you, at that point in time, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa had received a closing statement from the lawyers in Miami, giving the government of Trinidad and Tobago millions of US dollars. One letter alone, July 12, 2010, the amount of $2,753,889.06 received and signed off for by Anand Ramlogan on the 12th of July 2010. Did you ever hear about that? No. Did you hear about what had happened in the criminal cases? No. I'll come to that. But step in now into the UNC. Back then, I want to remind you who is asking to go back in office. And Prasad Bisesa passed a law called the Administration of Justice Preliminary Inquiries Act. We call it a JIPA. But she proclaimed one section in particular, 31st of August 2012, Section 34. And Section 34 says, if your case in the court longer than 10 years, get out of jail. Pass that 31st of August 2012, and they went to court and they exercised their rights and they say they're out of jail. So no extradition. Ram Logan said he's not appealing. That wasn't good enough, you know. Section 34 had to seal the deal. When the country woke up to Section 34 and 10,000 people went and marched through Port of Spain to the president's house, they were forced to go back into Parliament to repeal the law. But we have a constitution, we have due process. The people entitled to say, but hold on, you can't give me a law today and take it away tomorrow, because all it is stupid. Kamla, Prasad, Bisesa, SC, MP. All that missing is the letter A between them. Because what you were told is that a government sensible as it is, with SC, MP, could pass Section 34. It took years to go to court. And the country was reminded of that in 2015. The PNM came in, and we in this government took up the Miami case, went to court. I went and I testified myself. Having testified myself, we led the litigation. Having led the litigation, we organized and we got $133 million in judgment, $1 billion in judgment for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But that $1 billion has $20 million in interest and another $20 million in legal costs. And by the time you add all of that and you put it in Trinidad and Tobago dollars, you are looking at $1.3 billion. And in reminding you and coming to your fridge now, the question is what you're going to do with that $1.3 billion. Because when Section 34 passed, you did not hear that 7 people in a United States court entered a plea of guilt. Let me call them for you. Guilty plea in the federal court. Eduardo Hillman Waller, imprisoned 37 months. Probation 60 months, restitution order $2 million. Leonardo Arturo Mora Rodriguez, guilty plea, conspiracy to commit offenses, sentence $20,000, imprisonment 6 months, supervised 36 months. Rene Diaz de Villegas, he make a jail too. Fine $50,000, imprisonment 12 months. Raul J. Gutierrez, he make a jail too, 72 months. Supervised release 60 months. $22 million in restitution, US. Armando Paz, guilty plea, home detention 6 months. Richard Lackle, guilty plea, sentence $15,000, imprisonment 16 months. Kalma Quip, guilty plea, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, probation 5 years. You know what they have under Steve Ferguson's name? Fugitive from justice. Because Ram Logan said in the letter I read out, I am not appealing. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SC and MP, decided as Prime Minister she good with that. United States Embassy issue a press release saying that they are deeply concerned about the lack of extradition. U.S. Embassy statement on Ish and Steve, written by the Trinidad Guardian. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear tonight what the people themselves had to say. Because tonight I have what you didn't hear. I have the letters of apology to the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. These people have apologized to the state. And even though we have matters in court, that court matter in the United States Federal Court, done and finished, because them gone to jail, serve time, come out, pay money, and you never see 1 cent of it from from the United National Congress, and them bold-faced enough to tell you, come back and vote for me, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SC and MP. Listen to this one. I have 7 letters of apology. First one, January 18, 2007, written by Eduardo Hillman Waller. I'm going to read an excerpt. I, along with my company, Burke Hillman, selected tainted process to shepherd and safeguard the process of designing Piarco. I was to use my considerable experience and skill in this function and to do everything in my power to protect the investments of the people of Trinidad and Tobago who were making this important capital infrastructure. Instead, I must sadly and with deep regret admit and inform you that I did not do that. Along with others, I participated in perverting the bidding process to the benefit of, and he names Trinidadian companies. I am aware of the damage this has wrought to your country. I am very sorry for what I did. I knew it was wrong. Listen to this, because it applies to Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. I am 70 years old, and I will, in the twilight of my life, go to prison instead of spending it with my wife, children, and grandchildren. Moreover, I am selling assets to repay the people of Trinidad and Tobago by way of restitution. I have another one. This one written by Rene Diaz Villegas. I have another one written by Leonardo Arturo Mora Rodriguez. Another one written by Jose Amensaga. I have another one written by Suarez Company. Another one written by Mr. Burke. All of them apologizing to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago for the thieving that went down of the money at the Piarco airport. And you tell me, how on God's earth can we install Kamla Prasad Bisesa back into government to supervise your money? What is going to happen to the billion-dollar judgment that we have collected for you? If they get back in office, what are they going to do with that? You don't think the same old will happen? Stretch it, pass another law, let them out, go to court, wait for man to dead, wait for woman to dead. Ladies and gentlemen, them so is the people coming to ask you for the vote. They have, listen, I have never run a negative campaign, and therefore I will be respectful to the very elderly gentleman who is running against me in San Fernando. I cannot disrespect octogenarians. I will just say respectfully that a man like that should watch them cocky eye, and he should follow suit from Dinesh Rambali's example, from the whole Adego Martin Northeast example, from Rushton Parry's example, from all of the UNC sensible people who say enough is enough, for heaven's sake, enough is enough. But I want to come quickly to a close, back to your fridge. You see, I am seeking a 3rd term. And I, as MP for San Fernando West, delivered 31 projects. And in 2020, I produced a flyer. I said that I would do 11 things. In fact, I did 10 out of the 11. That is a 91% record. But I want to tell you what I did with $1.5 billion. Close to the 1.3 that them owing we. Lady Hales widening done, 67 million. Mbakade, we repurposed that in the boots, 5 million. Carlton Lane housing done, 60 million. Waterfront reclamation done, 136 million. Plaza San Carlos being built, 61 million. San Fernando Fishing Port done, 38 million. San Fernando Family Court done, handed over March 18 for 14,000 people to stop going Port of Spain, done. Bayshore housing done at 15.6 million. Hospital car park done at 140 million. Skinner Park done at 160 million. Wastewater treatment plant at 6 654 million, done. Fishing port at 38 million, done. PTSD relocation, 15 million, done. Housing to go up at $207 million, done in terms of development and positions. But what does that mean for your fridge? It means that everybody who is looking for an HTC home of good value in San Fernando, we are building your houses. Go and see the open land. It means that when you're seeking jobs, that when you get a high-paying job in a marina, which is being built on the solid land we have at the waterfront now, solid land, it means you get US dollars. It means that employment is given, all of this delivered by infrastructure of the same amount as the judgment that Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, SC and MP, has denied us for all these years. Ladies and gentlemen, we need the money. We want the money. You have a choice to make. On April 28th, will you allow our progress to continue? Will you put scamps into office? Will you send somebody back who was Attorney General, Prime Minister? Watch them do appeal. Watch them pass Section 34. Watch them stretch time. Are you going to put her back? Well, you only have one choice. And when as I'm leaving the stage, play a video behind me, I want you to see some before and after images of what I, as MP, backed by my Prime Minister then, Dr. Rowley, backed by my cabinet, backed by the hard work of Stuart Young as Minister of Energy, and the work he did with me and Attorney General. Watch what $1 billion can do. And understand we have a vision because we're ready and responsible to deliver Trinidad and Tobago with policy. So I will end, as the video comes on, by telling you, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Rain, sun or shine, we shall prevail.
Big up